My Color TV, life in living color.
Hello everyone, welcome to Punchline second edition. I'm really glad you guys shared our video last time. You know, it was really fun, and you know what we do here, political discussions. I have a friend of mine here. Like I always tell you, we don't have guests, we have friends. So I have Mr. Onyedika Agbo today, and today on Punchline, talking politics as usual, we're going to talk about local government systems. Do they work for Nigerians? What needs to be done? I'm going to come to you from the angle of, we have shared a story some time ago about you contesting for local government position. So from that angle, we're going to now dovetail into other matters relating to local government. Share a little bit of your experience for everyone watching out there. What happened when you tried contesting, and when was this?
Okay, it's quite a pleasure for you to have me on the show. I wanted to be councillor in 2002, precisely. And then I haven't had any experience about politics. I haven't taken a first shot before then. So I joined a political party, went through the processes of screening, bought a form, and after the primaries, I emerged as the party's flag bearer for councillorship. So I went on to do my campaign, and it was exciting, but it's a place where I was born. So I had a very good influence over people there. I visited churches, even bars, Councillorship is just
Around the world.
Yeah, exactly. So it was easy for me to tour around the whole world, and everybody was saying that people who didn't support for knowing me say, we know your father now. And I said, we know your mother. We know his brothers, we know his sister. So it was like, and luckily for me, even though it didn't end well, the guy that the other party brought was a known face for terror and everything negativity. So they were all like, okay, so let's see how he's going to come and win now. Even during the campaign, he already knows that I was well ahead of him. There was a night that he came, or he either came or sent some people to come and threaten my father then, that he should tell me to stay clear and all that.
This was a councillorship election.
Of course. And
one councillor in a local government.
Yeah, in the one very small portion of a local government. So, but those things didn't make any sense to me. I was very young then, and I didn't even bother listening. My father called me, even my mom said, "Are you sure you want to get into this? No, you're young," and all that. But the interesting thing, where the whole story boils down, is during the election day. As the election started, people who were supporting this other guy belonged to a party that had a way of doing things. So, first of all, they called me and told me in plain languages that I should stay clear, that this election, people will vote, that I shouldn't bother fighting over whatever comes out of the results. I didn't understand some of the things they said, so I was like, okay, let's just go to the field. During the election proper, I visited polling booths to polling booth, and each place I came to, people would hail me, on sighting me, they get excited, and they would tell me they are voting in turns. At a particular polling booth, they told me that everybody that voted would give them sign that would say, we voted Onyedika. So I was scoring about 78 when this other guy was getting like 3. So everybody already said, we can go home. And I didn't know that you have to follow your result, you have to see what happens beyond that. But there were people who were more experienced than an elderly man who was fully supporting me said, you know we are not going to leave these results. They collected the result at each polling unit and polling booth and polling centers. We went to the collation center. The people who called me earlier on called again and said, don't go beyond collation center. This thing in Machagari, don't go beyond collation center for your own life. And I didn't understand it, I didn't listen. So at the collation center, they called one guy who was supporting me, the elderly guy, and told him, we've seen the passion with which you're supporting this young man. Tell him not to go beyond here. And even you that will follow us in the local government for your own life. So the man called me and gave me a fatherly advice and said, we already know you have won. And I don't know what they want to do, but don't follow us to the local government because there's been all sorts of threats. And some of the people that have spoken to me, they don't mince their words. So I had to stay back. And then they went into the local government. In the evening, very late in the evening, the man came back and showed me bruises and said that if I had followed them to the local government, maybe I wouldn't even have survived it. He said for councillorship, I didn't understand.
So what if it's councillorship then? What happens for local government
That
chairman?
that will tell you how the level of the desperation for people. And as at that time, I wasn't even looking at maybe what will I gain if I become the councillor. There will be an official car, or I will get money. I wasn't even interested in that. As a very young person, before the age of 16, I've confronted a rapist who raped a young girl and took the parents of the victim to police. So I was just looking for an opportunity, a platform to have more power to do more of the things I've already gotten passion to do as a young person. So, and I didn't know that there's this loyalty part of doing politics, that there is this returns you have to be giving to somebody, that you don't just wake up and say you want to do something, that somebody has to handpick you, and you have to be loyal, be licking somebody's ass, and then whether you are a mediocre or it doesn't matter, just make sure that you're licking an ass of a godfather who will submit your name. If you come by yourself, they'll be asking, because they ask a lot of, so who was your father? So who is supporting you in this thing? And I'll tell them it's myself. They will laugh. So it was after that it became clear to me that the election in Nigeria is not even what the people will decide. The election in my country is not by the popular, a person who is popular, or maybe somebody who is more credible. That there are certain persons that decide what happened. And since that time till now, I'll be very honest to tell you, it has always gotten worse in successive elections. Now, what happened is that you don't even come out at all, because, of course, the local government chairmen and councillors don't campaign. They are busy visiting houses of local government or senatorial zone
And
godfathers, people who will decide. You just be going there and be pressing on him. You want to represent the people, but there's one man you must go and worship, lick his ass and kiss his feet. If he approves of you, of course, the same thing happens in nomination for House of Assembly. Even governorship, sometimes you have to play some form
But
of...
this paints a very bleak picture for Nigerians, because local governments are a third tier of government. It also means that there's allocation for local governments at every time they're sharing monthly allocation at the federal level. So a lot of people have spoken on social media about the fact that roads are not working, lights are not working. These are things that are supposed to be within the purview of a local government chairman. So where do we put blame now? Will we say is that local government chairman is hoarding the money, or the money is not getting the local government chairman, or the local government chairman has to settle some stakeholders like you talked about? Where is the blame supposed to be?
Okay, the blame is actually supposed to be balanced. Let me share it amongst three different entities. One, the governors of the states, because the governors have joint account with the local government chairman. The local government chairman cannot take out money from that joint account unless it is co-signed by the governor. So most governors, even in the previous administrations, will bring out an agreement for you to sign even before you become a local government chairman. A part of the agreement is that whosoever is your godfather that submits your name, you know the returns you have to be given to the person.
And this is factual. This is
of course, because we have engaged with local government chairmen who were sincere enough. In fact, after my experience in 2002, there was nothing I found out at the long run as I joined civil society and began to engage with people that surprised me. Because I didn't understand what happened that night, and a lot of people were coming the following morning to congratulate me. They said that was victorious. They said I told them the result didn't come in my favor, and so many of them couldn't believe it. So what else could make people, people came out en masse, you saw the turnout.
But shouldn't people? There are some states. Let me speak for Rivers State.
Okay.
Let me speak for Rivers State. I've had experience. I've lived in Rivers State, where you had elections and then the people followed the ballots. Even Imo State, people follow the ballot from the polling unit to the collation center to the local government. They insisted that this vote must be counted. But now, people don't really do that. So would you really say, should we add the people to this list of blames?
Yeah, yes, that because, I said I will share it in three categories. The last one is actually the people. Now, the governors, they are blamed because, then the local government chairmen themselves. For instance, most of the time they get allocation between the ranges of 600, 800 and thereabout million. If a governor...
This is monthly?
Monthly. If a local government is receiving 800 million, for instance, the governor most of the time will take between 400 million and above.
Well, is this a fact? Is this verified?
Of course, it will be very difficult to verify. Most of the time, if you engage a local government chairman that will be honest with you, he will tell you, do not quote me. But because of how close I've gotten to some of these things, I've seen that it's true. Even the governor will call you. There's a particular local government chairman now that has fallen out of favor with the governor. He receives his own allocation after the other people that have received. And it's a sign to tell him, you know, I decide whether you receive this money or not. So you must obey and follow according to the law. Now, where I blame the local government chairman is in most cases when you have 800 allocation coming to you and the state is borrowing it, there are some political terms and government choice languages they use to bend and shift some of this money. And most of the time, they will give the local government chairman up to 400 million plus. They will say, we know that 200 million can pay your staff.
What is, wait, hold on, 200 million to pay local government staff?
Yes.
Really? How many staff local government have that 200 million will be able to pay? Is not 200 million not too much?
There are political appointees that are attached to the...
Leave the appointees. If the appointees are give or take 50, it's a monthly thing.
I have participated in one that when the list of the appointees came out, I think it numbered up to 500 or so.
Appointees?
They will have local government SSA, local government SA.
So 200 million, let's assume, because it still baffles me how 200 million will be used for salaries alone. Really? So if we are saying 200 million out of 400 million is given to a local government chairman, can't 200 million that is left do something in the local government?
Exactly. That's where I say you now blame the local government, because most of them now believe that you don't even need to do anything. The people don't have a say. People don't decide who comes back or not. As we talk now, Enugu State will be conducting local government election by December this year. And people already know those who are coming back and those who are not coming back. Not because of the scorecard, not because of those who have performed, but because of those who have fallen out of favor with the powers that be.
The powers that be might be the governor or some other.
Yeah, it might be the governor, it might be a senator from your zone, it might be another power money bag that powers the election. Because most of the time when the election is around the corner, people don't bother about who will go to the people. They are asking those who will bring money. Some people bring as much as 500 million. People bring us 1 point something billion.
So contest for local government?
No, to support the gubernatorial.
So somebody will give you 1.5 billion.
Of course.
To support you.
Yes, and in return, you allow him to single-handedly give you who will become the local government chairman of your local government chairman.
So this cuts across different states.
Yes, and then the local government chairman will now be told, for Ichie also Sam, you will be giving him 50 million every month to recover his returns. And there's no question about
that. That 200 million now has now split. So 150 has gone. If that funder is only one person.
It's only one person.
So it has 150 million.
Now, but in any case, most of the local government chairmen will have between 150 to 200 plus left for them to decide what to do with it. Some of them go to Jamboree. Some of them, of course, there's a competition that those who were there before you bought houses in Abuja, that you need to go and see where they are living now.
How come? I don't know if EFCC is going to reply this. I have not really heard, because I listen to a lot of news, that EFCC arrested local government chairman. Is it that it's not within the purview of their arrangement? Because if EFCC was putting pressure on local government the same way they do for former governors, don't you think things would have changed?
Okay, there's a case in Enugu State where a local government chairman that was giving 30 million naira every month, the wife of a sitting senator, came to limelight and it was being investigated, and he simply said the agreement that was reached before my election was that certain amount of money must go to the man who installed me, and that's the senator. And they asked him, what would you write when you give out a whole 30 million? He said, it is for the wife's kitchen. That's what they wrote. And now, EFCC cannot really prosecute a local government chairman because of the joint account. You can't just come and handpick a local government chairman. He will tell you, no, the allocation comes, I don't single-handedly decide what happens to it. And then the governors, they have their terms. By the time you look at the papers and how they say that this money, because of the joint account, sometimes they'll say the states having some projects.
Oh, no, hold on. Supposing the governor himself is not the one who installed the local government chairman. Supposing he's the one that they brought the person to, because some governors have said, well, they brought these guys to me. It's not really my person. Some governors open it up and say, go and bring whoever you feel the local government chairman should be from your local government, and then people now decide. So if the governor is not part of it, I'm not saying they are not usual, but if they are not part of it, what do we do about walking up to a local government chairman and asking, what have you done so far?
See, there's no governor, to the best of my knowledge, who won't be part of it. In fact, the stakeholders receive the amount of money the stakeholders, the person who brings out the name, receives is minute to what the governor, like this 800 that I'm using for example now. The governor takes like 400 or 380 and allows the local government chairman to go home with 400 or 400 plus. 50 is what goes to whosoever the stakeholder monthly. From there, the governor is holding 400, and now the local government chairman will be left.
400 has some political jingle.
Yeah, of course. Now he won't just take 400 million naira and not attach it. By the time you push and you see their papers, it's just that sometimes it's very difficult to get justice in Nigeria. You'll be tired.
But there's freedom of information bill.
No, they will give you, but you will go through you go through hell to get it.
Yeah, I'm killing them shot. Because I swear God, if I go kill them back. Rah, we go to win them like that. Oh God, boss, make a no be a belly jack. Yes, on yeah. Jojo, make you know the kulala. Jala mi jala, where the money, na 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 na. Money alone, we make the money rush like Indomie. Suppose that you are what my lordy. Baby, show my Giuseppe's a naughty.
Okay, so governor's 400 million is one side, according to what you're saying.
Yes.
The one that comes to the local government chairman, is it not possible that whatever is left can be used for development?
Now, when a local government chairman knows that the governor is holding 400 million for doing nothing, for just sitting there as
they might say that it's for paying salaries and all
no, it's not
at a certain level.
No, he has his own state allocation. I'm telling you the allocation that is going to the local government. And when you know that the person who has 400 million is not doing anything, and you've given one Ichie or chief godfather 50 million, and you've paid salary, sometimes they will even owe the local government workers, and then you're now left with 200 million. You'll be asking yourself, if I leave office after 2 years, assuming I fall out of favor with these people, so what will I do? Even your own people, your kindred will tell you, are you stupid by trying to go and be building culverts and roads when your predecessors built houses in all the places? So now there will not be any moral justification to say, okay, let me use the 200 million to work for the people. And again, they know that it is not the people that decide. The people don't have a say in it. They will beat you black and white on the election day and nothing will happen.
So the three people you have mentioned,
that you share the blame.
Yeah, the governor, the
local government chairman, and the other one is the people who have always they've always been overwhelmed by stories of what has happened. Yes, a lot of time there are challenges, sometimes even if you follow the results to the local government center, at the local government level, there will be shootouts, they will engage with talks, engage in talks. But people should know that this election period is the most important time for politicians. During elections time, they will become angels. They will come to you. They will come to your houses. I know people who were visited close to 2019 election, to my amazement is that if I tell you those who visited them, you will be shocked. Because they wanted the people to vote. And I wonder why Nigerians would not know. It's just one day activity. It decides what happened for the rest of the 4 years.
You talked about shooting now. People are afraid for their life.
Okay, now we conducted a sort of survey in my ward, and I told the young people there, a rough estimate of close to 1,300 young people, and the people who do this thing are less than 50. And after 4 years, the rest of you will be complaining. No, those of them who know that I'm engaged in human rights activism will be calling me. They've arrested my brother. See, people come here and I'll ask them. So what of the people that gave you salt and dash you some things before election?
Right.
So go to them now. This is one period of the time. If these people were doing this, how many can there be? And the shootout is because if you enter into a local government headquarters and you see that the people there, that they are less than 50, you can actually begin to do your shootout. If we get to a point where all your mama mobilize your mothers, all the reverend fathers wear your priestly gown, all the pastors, all the traditional herbalists, everybody will come that day and say, shoot, let us know who you will shoot. If you come and see scanty of people, you can begin to shoot in the air. But if everybody sacrifice that few hours, because it's not even complete 24 hours.
You mentioned what happens after the voting. You go and do collation, then you go to local government. Maybe that's the problem.
That's where I'm saying that at that local government, like if we want to get it right, the system has already been so, it has become a routine decay that even you, a lot of people have said it to me, even with all your goodness and your good mind, if you enter there, you won't survive it. And it's likely to be true, because how will you, somebody once told me that if you're one person, you come into a community of naked people and you're wearing clothes, how would the 99 be saying you? You're the one that is crazy. How are you covering this thing? Everybody here is naked, So, and there's no way you'll be the only one that is right. Now, if we realize that these people are using this thing, the gun shooting and everything, during that election period, we will all make sure that everybody is usually movements are restricted. Everybody comes to your collation center. All the people in the polling units vote, stay, come together, vote at the collation center, come together. Then during the local government, which is where the final result will be, if you come and see massive turnout of people, there's no way you will rig that election. Okay. So they succeed in increasing the volume of their party so that it will be easier for them to rig election subsequently.
Well, two final questions. Are local government working? The local government system in Nigeria. I had guests last week who said that let's scrap this system, let's go back to regional system. Is local government system in Nigeria, is it working?
Oh, of course, except even a blind man will attest to the fact that it's not working. It has never worked. It was designed to be the closest tier of government to the people, but our politicians have changed it to be what they use for political patronage to settle people. So it has never worked. But I am of the opinion that it should not be scrapped. It can work if the people wake up to their responsibilities, of which is just that day of the election. It's very, very important.
All right, so that's where we're going to put it, cap to it for now. This is a very sensitive topic, and we're taking our time to talk about local government and local government system in Nigeria. We have Onyedika Agbo here, my friend Onyedika. We're going to have more conversations about this and going forward. Don't forget, we also have the series on Nigeria at 59, where we're discussing different things happening around Nigeria. He's into human rights and civil society, so he's everywhere. Everyone knows about that. So we're going to talk about this more, so don't forget to like and subscribe to our channel to get notifications about our further videos. Thank you very much for joining us. I am Sammy Ajufo, and we'll see you next time.